A lot of people come to Vegas to lose. I did.
It's already over.
It doesn't over till it's over.
What's that from, in the 80s?
It's probably in the 70s.
The Rocky franchise has always had an interesting relationship with the American psyche. Tonight we are talking about the 2006 film Rocky Balboa, which is technically Rocky VI. The original Rocky, which was released in 1976, was written by Sylvester Stallone after watching the fight between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner in 1975. Wepner ultimately lost, but fell just 19 seconds short of going 15 rounds with the world heavyweight champion. Rocky Balboa, played obviously by Stallone, is a down-and-out amateur boxer in Philadelphia who was given the opportunity to go up against the world heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed.
Here it's chaos. Rocky, you went the distance. You went the 15 rounds. How do you feel?
All right, all right.
What are you thinking about when that buzzer sounds for that one? What do you think about when the 15th round when you're coming out?
He doesn't win, but goes the distance and manages to hold his own in the ring, becoming a folk hero in the process. Political critics have sometimes accused Rocky of being an artifact of white ethnic backlash. Boxing has always been an inherently political sport, and Muhammad Ali specifically a politically divisive figure.
Ali supported himself by giving speeches at college anti-war rallies.
Muhammad Ali! It has been said that I have two alternatives. Either go to jail or go to the army. But I would like to say that there is another alternative. And that alternative is justice.
I know Nixon's done a lot of good, helping poor people, getting people jobs. I understand he's got a lot of black people in the administration.
Many boxing fans channeled their own racial and ethnic pride and grievances into that sport specifically in the 1960s and 1970s. But it's also a distinctly American film series with a multiracial and ethnic cast taking center stage in every film exploring the commonalities of American culture.
Hey! Well, I dig your locker, man.
Rocky Balboa is named after Rocky Marciano, the Italian-American heavyweight boxer who retired in 1956 with a record of 49-0. In 1979, Rocky II saw Rocky goaded into a rematch with Apollo Creed, where he became the world heavyweight champion.
Because there's still a lot of people out there that think he won. There's a lot of people out there accusing me of having the fight fixed, accusing me of being a fake and insulting my kids at school. That's why.
Apollo Creed is plagued by accusations that he fixed the fight and becomes obsessed with proving the Rocky fight was a fluke. Rocky IV is a hallmark of Reagan-era American Cold War propaganda, where Rocky and Apollo Creed, who gets beaten to death in the ring, challenge Ivan Drago, the Soviet boxer.
For God's sake! What started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster.
Creed appears to be in very serious condition.
The man died.
If he dies, he dies.
Rocky V, the movie before Rocky Balboa, sees Rocky going broke and being shown to have mild brain damage.
You, it's you, it's not him. You can't live backwards. Come on, you can't turn back the clocks. We live now. We live here.
Hey, Adrian, I know where we live. What do you think? I'm stupid? I'm not as dumb as you think I am. You don't think I can smell it? I see what we are.
The film was understandably unpopular with audiences in 1990 and would have been a horrible note for the Rocky Balboa character to go out on. So, in the mid-2000s, Sylvester Stallone got an idea to continue the franchise with one more movie. In 1969, shortly before his death in a plane crash, Rocky Marciano and Muhammad Ali filmed a computerized fight called The Super Fight. They were filmed sparring and then edited to match the results of computer probabilities. Likewise, Rocky Balboa will be brought back one more time to bolster his name for 2006's Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa sees Rocky, now a widower after his wife Adrian died of woman cancer, stuck in Philadelphia, running a restaurant and unable to move on.
I don't know, there's still some stuff in the basement.
What basement?
In here.
Tell me about the stuff.
What about it?
Tell me about the stuff inside. Is it angry?
Angry?
Are you mad because Adrian left you?
She didn't leave, Paul. She died.
Okay.
He's constantly revisiting the locations where the original story took place. The ice skating rink, which has been torn down, Adrian's old pet store, the stairs where he ran to train. His son Robert is trying to make it as a lawyer in the city and is unable to escape the shadow of his famous father.
And the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you.
Rocky isn't over his wife's death, is angry about how life turned out, and is unable to move forward.
You know, sometimes it's hard to breathe. I feel like this beast inside me.
It's okay, Rocco. Please, it's okay.
Is it? Okay.
At the same time, the much-hated Mason the Lion Dixon, the new world heavyweight champion, is finding it impossible to fight challengers. Nobody wants to box anymore. Nobody good anyway. And on-screen TV commentary throughout the movie makes it clear boxing fans are feeling nostalgic.
There's no question that Rocky Balboa fought the much tougher fights during a much tougher era in boxing. When you look at Mason Dixon in his career, he's basically been spoon-fed his opponents. No question in my mind, not only does Rocky win, but he wins knockout.
After seeing a hypothetical computer fight that pits Rocky in his prime against Mason Dixon, Rocky decides that maybe getting back into local fights is a thing he needs to get through mourning. However, Mason Dixon's team gets the idea to do a big exhibition fight between him and Rocky Balboa. This sets up a huge final fight where Sylvester Stallone, as writer, director, and actor, can redeem Rocky's name after the Rocky V catastrophe.
Come on, guys. Come on. Touch him up. Let's go. Touch him up.
You one crazy old man.
You'll get tired.
Sports careers always have a shelf life, and none are as short or as tragic as boxing. The physical toll that boxing takes on the human body is enormous, and sportscasters love to compare older boxers with the current champion. Stallone uses that as a jumping off point for his final entry into the Rocky franchise. But this film has emotional depth that does, sometimes feel kind of cheesy. But Rocky Balboa finds a way to be a commentary on aging, mourning, loss, and family.
You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
Anyway, before I introduce the panel, let me say, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Also, we are now monetized, so if you have any pressing questions during this live show, send us a super chat. We are absolutely obligated by international law, human rights law, to answer it. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. All of our after parties are available on there forever. Okay, let me introduce the panel. Conan Neutron, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, and frontman for Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Right now, Conan is working on Caterwaul 2023. Caterwaul Music Festival is going to be in Minneapolis from May 26th to 29th. Tickets are on sale now at caterwaul.org. Christina Oakes. When she's not dog sitting, you can find her streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/cosmopolitics. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at @cosmopolitics. Throw her some subs on Twitch. J. Andrew World, illustrator, book cover artist, comic designer, and artist for Give Them an Argument, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and Bad Takes. Ron Purtee, host of The Ron Purtee Show, host, producer, and writer at Uncle Ron's Corner, repeat guest and show Uncle, and on social media at I'm Uncle Ron. I, of course, am your long-suffering heavyweight champion, Forrest Miller, aka Rocky Balboa, and I just can't stop going the distance. Without further ado, let's all touch gloves.
There he is, folks. There he is.
I'm getting back in the fighting shape.
He's going the distance. He's going for speed.
If we're going to invoke cake, I'm going to get right out of here.
Yeah, my diabetes couldn't handle that.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome back, Master of Disaster. It's good to have you back.
Hey, no problem. Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer ever since Cassius Clay.
I feel like the fact that like conservative white people refuse to call him Muhammad Ali and like just kept calling him Cassius Clay is the original dead naming scandal. Like,
I was just about to say that.
A little bit. You're not wrong.
I'm the
They're like,
world's
excuse
greatest.
me, he has a Muslim name. Please use that.
Yeah.
What was Malcolm X's? I don't know. We'll get our
George
on it.
I don't know.
I will do it.
I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. This is, for me, not just something that's a great capstone to a overall great trilogy. Look, even Rocky's win and loss ratio isn't perfect, people.
Malcolm
But
Little.
that was a major step up then. I think that this movie specifically is actually wildly underrated. One of the reasons why is because when it came out, most people kind of written off the franchise entirely, largely due to how horrible, and I do mean horrible, 5 was. Just legacy tarnishing.
There was a 5th Rocky film? I did not know.
I have a sentimental reason for enjoying the film. I'm not saying it's good by any stretch of the imagination, because hearing Elton John in the end credits is probably what all those bikers felt like when Elton John showed up at the Harley anniversary. So that was, but my mom loved it, and we used to watch it together. And she wasn't she was a smart lady, but she wasn't a film nerd. And so, because she liked 50 Shades of Grey. So I mean, but it is what it is.
I think of those two as inexorably linked, actually.
They might be, yeah, because I'm pretty sure Tommy went and never mind.
Where's that crossover? Exactly. Nowhere to
It's coming, don't worry.
I just imagine Sylvester Stallone getting the idea after like seeing somebody playing like Street Fighter on an arcade. And he's like, we should totally do that.
Well, so to complete the thought of what I was going for is that like this was not like a nostalgia trip when it came out. This was like a redemption arc of let's find out why people identified with this character, and this became such a grassroots success in the first place. I was talking to Andy. It's amazing to me that the song, Oscar nominated, lost to Star Is Born. That year, like the song that like all you have to do is say like 2 notes of it. Everyone's oh yeah, I know that song. Everyone knows that song. Oh, yeah. That legacy was gone at this point, gone completely, to the point that people would be like, oh yeah, that. And this brought it back. And one of the things that was really poignant for me for this movie is that monologue that kind of centers everything, where Rocky's talking to his son and talking about how basically life is your biggest opponent, and you have to, how much you keep going forward. That whole thing, and that alone. Now, granted, was that like catnip for like dads? Yeah, sure. I'm sure it was. You know what I mean? Of course. Like dudes that like are sitting there watching Sports Center. I could take him. I could do that. I just don't want to. Oh, yeah. Can you? But if you apply it not just to boxing, but to artistic efforts like music, podcasting, sure, that can be a creative effort. Like any kind of art of any kind, like it really is motivational in a way that hits different than it does when you're young. And that's one of the reasons why I think this movie connected the way that it did, even though it is criminally underrated. And that's one of the reasons I'm very excited to talk about, because there's not a lot of that. And if there is, then you just get the, like, you know, the joke worked once, which is, I think it was for nobody. Is that you know, my dad whispered to me, "This is my Black Panther." Bob Odenkirk beats the hell out of everyone. Anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That kills on literally any other podcast. But anyway.
I like Nobody.
Nobody was great. It was a great movie, but I think that it's easy to like dismiss it as like boomer nostalgia, because unfortunately we're just like, we will be surrounded by boomer nostalgia until the day like the last of them die. Apparently, I don't think that's what this movie is. I think this movie fulfills the sort of stated purpose of it being an actually true underdog story, but just the stakes change and are different. It becomes about grieving and loss as well. So thank you.
Well, and I think
that's all the time we got, folks. So
it's more than just a boxing movie.
I think the fact that it is
exactly, it's more than a boxing movie.
The first movie so heavily is what gets invoked with the, because we're so delusional at this point with boomer nostalgia, and so like any movie that's kind of winking back at you in some way, that's like, oh, remember this movie you liked, automatically gets kind of written off as that. Although I don't think that was the case in like 2006, right? Like we are
not
so deep
and
into,
we're dealing with
like,
a millennial, like an early millennium, like nostalgia right now. It's
Yeah.
almost
Yeah,
like
well,
a
the cycles are
20-year
just
cycle.
quicker now, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
way quicker. But like, this is a Rocky who like
eyebrows.
he has calcium deposits. You know, like his knees aren't what they used to be. Like he literally is not able to be the Rocky that people remember him as. So what he chooses to do, and I find this very interesting, is he, you know, chooses to do it the way that he can. Like just be this, like, you know, just a movable, like piece of stone, basically, much like the namesake, and build the hurting bombs. And that's how it works, because it's sort of like, yeah, that's the only way it would work. You would get like literally slaughtered if you were just trying to like move around like you did, like, you know, as a younger man. And even his younger days, if you not like, I know a lot of people that are boxing enthusiasts dislike the series because like, oh, he's not guarding, you know, like whatever. Well, that's the thing. He's this guy who takes the hits. He just takes the hits, and then like when they exhaust themselves, like just beating the hell out of them, then he comes back and just destroys them. And
they even yelled at him all the time. They're like block, like,
yeah, block.
Even like Rocky 2 with the fucked up eye. The whole time they're yelling at him. They're like protect your eye. Your eye's fucked up. And he's like,
it's like the video games
of them yelling block.
Yeah, he never does. It's like the video game analogy, right? It's like you're playing Street Fighter and the block button is broken.
Oh wow! Oh my God! They just announced a new Rocky spinoff called Block.
Blocky.
Hey,
it's like it's coming out for Minecraft.
It's Rocky
Nice.
Balboa's like arch nemesis, like his new arch nemesis. And he's just a guy that like only blocks. Like
He has like a goatee because that's what you got to have, and he blocks only. He never attacks. Yeah.
All I gotta do is block. I can block any punch. It's great.
And he speaks very eloquently, like almost
I
Shakespearean.
do declare.
He speaks the Queen's English, sure.
Yes,
Yeah, why not?
yes.
Yeah, let's go
Rocky
crazy.
Balboa.
Do you mind if I go out speaking the kings?
He has a dainty cigarette in his mouth with like a cigarette holder, and he's like,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Would you say that
He's an
Stallone-
academic, really. He's an academic.
Would you say that Stallone did the same thing with Rambo, though?
Ugh, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about Rambo.
A few years later, I think he only was able to do Rambo because of the success of this, because it was successful at the time, and it was quickly forgotten.
One of Christina's friends' uncles directed Rambo, I guess.
The First Blood for which,
Yeah.
It's an important distinction. I like First Blood quite a bit, and that's about what I'll say.
But he
Judy loved that
created
First
schlock.
Blood. The Second Blood, not so much.
Once the blood was flowing.
Yeah, once the blood was flowing, it went a little stale.
Sometimes I forgot that this movie even happened because I was so young when it came out. I was like 13, I think, 12 or 13 when Rocky Balboa came out. And I was like, there's another Rocky film? I actually thought Rocky ended after Rocky 3, to be honest, because I was like, because
would have been better if it did.
Wanted it. That's how Stallone wrote it as a trilogy.
Yeah, because I grew up watching the I Love series on VH1. I love the 70s, I love the 80s, and that's why so many millennials millennials like myself, we have a knowledge on pop culture from like way back when, because all these comedians and commentators would discuss these decades in the culture then. And so I honestly thought that like Rocky, like the third Rocky film was it, but even then I'm like, this movie sucks as well, because it's like propaganda for like America, whatever the fuck. But then I was like, oh god, there's another one. And then
Rocky 3 should have he's yelling Adrian, and fucking Mr. T is getting like hit. Fucking Mr. T is getting hit and he yells out, Nancy. And then Reagan has to come and give him the motivation.
My favorite story about Rocky 3 is Mr. T's mom got mad at him for yelling at Adrian like he did in the movie. Yep. He's like, you can't disrespect a man's woman like that.
So since I guess we're talking about the whole franchise, the Rocky 4, of course, is kind of almost the perfect mid-'80s propaganda movie for
Pop
America.
rock. I mean, essentially.
It's
and
the Wolf Warrior 2 of the 80s.
It's the Wolf Warrior 2 of the 80s, indeed. And it's and I think that it looms so large in people's minds, even though vast majority of that film, flashbacks to like other movies too. Where it's like, okay, yeah, I remember that movie. I saw it. Yeah,
fillers, lots of fillers. We love.
Is that the one with the robot? That's got the robot, right? The robot servant.
Yes, where Polly has the whole her arc.
Well, no, that's the perfect mid-'80s. And after this, let's stop talking about it.
We programmed the robot to be racist, just like you.
I will say this though.
It's a perfect mid-'80s thing because everyone's so coked up by that point that they can only flash back to other movies. They're like just recycling ideas again. They're like, throw that in the movie, Rock. Throw that.
I mean, that montage though when he's driving is quite possibly one of the best 80s montages ever.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's great moments too, and of course, it's incredibly important because of the death of Apollo Creed, right? Which features James Brown, by the way. That's incredible. Yes. Like where it's like living in America, Speaking of coked out, anyway. But
well, it's interesting because like whenever I think of Sylvester Stallone, some people don't think he's an actor to be taken seriously because of how he sounds and whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But like he is a screenwriter, a director. Yeah. Like he's very, very talented. My favorite role of his is obviously King Shark in the Suicide Squad because that was perfectly cast without a doubt.
Hard to hate on that, yeah.
I know, like perfect casting in the DCU, but like he is so underrated in all those other aspects. Everyone's like, he's just an actor who has like a bit of a slurred speech. I'm like, there's more to him than
all right,
that.
So speaking of that, and to transition us back to talking about Rocky Balboa,
that's why I brought it up.
I grabbed some clips from this documentary they did this like a making of.
Nice.
We'll probably get
a lot of people, by the way, dissed on the cinematography in this and like, looks ugly. Yeah, because it's supposed to look like ESPN, you dipshit. Like, I mean, have you seen it? Have you turned on a television? Like, that's what it looks like. He made it look like contemporary broadcasts of boxing. That's what makes it great, not bad.
I like that he does that. They do that in this too. Like, look, it's the director Rocky.
Exactly. Yeah.
A manual to be printed on how to make a fight film perfect. It should say Sylvester Stallone. Text by Sylvester Stallone because he wrote the manual. I don't care what anyone says. That's a fact.
Each of the little fight sequences have a dramatic value in the movie. So he wrote down as a writer what the dramatic value was for each of those instances. Who's winning at what point, and where Rocky is, and what's Rocky's both his physical journey through that fight and his emotional journey through that fight.
2 extra punches will destroy, to me, a tempo. It just takes a point where, and I made that mistake in other ones. I let things go on too long in rounds, and I see them now go, oh boy, okay. Then again, it was the 80s, so it was very excessive time. It was big hair, bands, the music, okay, too much punching. But by today's standards, it was overkill. So I try to be very, very realistic in this fight. The punches are something that I wanted to get right this time. And the other Rockies are okay, but they're too thuddy, too loud. We spent a lot of time recording actual punches, real sounds. Before we would layer in shotgun blast, broken bottles, chains rattling, a baseball bat hitting wet leather, believe it or not, and just crush it into a sound. This is being layered with true sounds. So when I'm hitting the meat, I'm hitting the meat. The speed at which it's delivered, the champion's punches, no question about it, have a higher register. They're coming faster, they're not as penetrating, so it's more of a bullwhip.
Balboa for the temerity of...
Whereas Rocky's is more ponderous, it's slower, so it'd be more of a thud. Lower register. Boom.
And Balboa immediately going first to the body. Huge right hook.
We brought in Antonio Tarver, who played Mason Dixon in the film.
Sly felt it would be a lot easier to find somebody who could really box, give them all the years of his acting experience to teach them how to act, rather than find an actor and try and get the physicality to make them box.
It's not about personal hate. It's not that kind of fight. So it now takes on a whole different feel.
I really didn't know how we were going to do it, but I listened to Sly. I was paying close attention to what he said, and everything that he asked of me, I gave it my all, 110%. Once I got in sync and I really understood his vision, it was a natural thing.
1, 2, 3, I just hook. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
It's actually really interesting because
wow, he knows his shit.
Yeah, and
he
it
knows
just
about
reinforces
sound mixing and this boxer has to sound like this. This boxing sounds like this. Like, damn.
It kind of reinforces everything Christina
go back
was
to Rocky
saying.
3. Like every single time Mr. T lands a punch, like you feel that. Like those punches. I don't know what they did the sound in that one that was so different, but and throughout
I think a big part of what made that happen, how we know so much about it, is because not only was he working on the first one, but his whole family did, and it was kind of a family affair. His dad did work on the set. I think one of his siblings did work on the set. He really had everybody in his family really putting work into the original Rocky.
His kids were in the movies, and yeah.
No, so I feel like he probably picked up a lot of on set stuff with him. I mean, he's been. I don't even think he was he wasn't the director of the first one, right? He was the writer.
No, Adelson, John G. Adelson directed the first one.
Yeah, and I think he started directing.
He directed the Karate Kid.
He also directed part 5, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Troma's own Lloyd Kaufman shows up in part 1.
Is he really?
Yeah. Okay. Really? Yeah, because apparently they needed a crew to work in Philadelphia, and they couldn't get one. So Lloyd put one together. And remember the drunk that Rocky picks up and brings into the bar with him?
Yeah.
In the first one, that's Lloyd with a beard.
Oh, no kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I think he's in the crowd in part 5 when Rocky's fighting Tommy. Yeah.
Yes, he is.
Good for Lloyd Kaufman.
Also, it really shows, in my opinion, the best actor is someone who really studies what it's like being a crew member. Joan Crawford, she learned all the ropes of what this does, what that does. And I feel like a lot of actors these days
I watch every boxing movie Joan Crawford's in.
I just feel like
she went the distance.
She's the true champ. Yeah,
a lot of actors today I'm not to knock a lot of actors of today, but I just don't think they're actually really that involved. And
go to knock them unless they're on this show. They're fair game.
Glad I'm on today.
Yeah, so there's skill and craft behind it, and I think Rocky being such a populist movie too, especially the original one and everything about it, that it was something that even though snobs sort of were, oh, this is just some lame stuff, but then it got best picture nomination, best director, best film editor, best actor, supporting actor, so on and so on and so on, and that was 76. That was a very, very, very strong year for film, and I think that's something where again this was a very working class movie, and it may seem like some overstyled caricature to someone who's a Zoomer or something, but there was not a film like that in recent memory at the time for the original one, and then so there was actual. Not in the way that everything is set up to do a sequel now, everything, right? It was more no, that people actually did want more to see more of what happened with this character, especially because, and again, we're violating my own rule. We're talking about the first movie now. He doesn't win in the first one. And it doesn't matter that he doesn't win in the first one. Like, it doesn't matter because he achieved what he wanted to achieve. And that's why this is like a much better spiritual successor in that way, because he achieved what he wanted to achieve. And this one, he's got, what is it? There's something in the basement, right?
It's also, it's interesting to me that also, the more politicized people have kind of accused Rocky of being like a white grievance kind of thing. But also, what do you know from that time period that had that big of a black cast and a white cast at the same
Hell
time?
yeah.
The multiracial cast happening. And I can see the argument, like the plot is kind of grievance politics, I guess, in a way.
Maybe Predator.
But I'm saying, like, but at the same time, like, what movie franchise do you really know that? I mean, it's not like, you look at Apollo Creed, you're like, oh, that's like a thug or something. You know what I mean? Like he just he's an interesting character. He's dynamic. He has emotional depth to him. Even in the second one, when
stereotypes.
Even when he's kind of being a dick about stuff in the second one, like, it's because he literally got a letter that's like, yo, you should kill yourself in front of your family.
Yeah, like, it's exactly, it's still relatable, right? Like, it's you're like, well, okay, so he's kind of a boisterous, over the top kind of guy, but that's his thing. But he's not like a one-dimensional villain. Now, Ivan Drago, you might argue, is a one-dimensional villain.
Yeah, but he's Russian and stiffing over that.
But
I wouldn't even call Apollo a villain.
No, well, I mean, he ends up being Rocky's best friend, right? I mean, and that's like that's one of the reasons.
And a lot of boxers in back then were very friendly with each other. It was just healthy competition,
right? Well, and it's something where you see with a Spider in this one, right? Like, it's just like, this guy that like he fought, and he's just like having him run around the kitchen, do stuff.
Hope he doesn't try to cook.
I can't remember.
Well, the thing so bringing this to Rocky Balboa, like bringing it to background to this, Muhammad Ali and and Rocky Marciano had this computer fight, a year before.
It actually happened. For when people are like, oh, this concept is so dumb, nobody would. It's like, no, they actually did do that. That was a thing.
No, they had AI fights in the 60s.
There was AI fights. Now, granted, it looked preposterous because it had like the technology of the day, but like,
there was no Chat GPT.
They changed the winner, based on what country you were in, though. So
America was like, nope. No Muhammad Ali.
Well, no, America let Muhammad Ali win, but then when it went out to Europe, they had Rocky Marciano win that one.
Goddamn Italians. Anyway,
we don't want to piss off Europeans and have the Italian guy get beat up.
Yeah, it was World War III.
But you got to remember, this came out the same year as Network. This came out the same year as Taxi Driver. This came out the same year as All the President's Men. This came out, I mean, even Marathon Man.
This was like the start of like the new era of like directors and young actors in cinema. So stuff was going to be more nitty gritty. You had De Niro, Robert Redford. He had an established career. Directors like Martin Scorsese and the Coppolas. Like it's a new era that's being brought in.
Yeah, and so that's why, again, like the unapologetically working class element of Rocky still exists here.
Mm-hmm.
And it exists in this movie. And you see that's like, okay, so like when he's at the bar, right? And like he gets shouted down by that one drunk chick, you ain't nothing. It's like
hound dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just it's so it's hard relatable in that way, because it's sort of like, what's very true amongst a lot of like working class people is that you're fancy now, right? Like you think you're all that, like whatever.
You're better than me.
Yeah, exactly. Like that. That's
you ain't nothing. You a bum
shot over here.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's. But some people don't like. People will say that they like working class stories put forward, but a lot of people don't. They don't like it. They don't like looking at it.
Especially when they become like a
you know why? It's ugly. It's ugly. That's why.
Or they project their own. I mean, they project their own cultural grievances into working class stories. Like if you're working class and white, and you see someone who's working class and white in a story, you might relate to them. But then if you see a working class black story, you might be like, oh, this isn't how it is at all, and like say something.
Yeah, simpletons and racists get to watch movies too, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this movie kind of comes at a time. Similarly with like The Sopranos, where it's kind of an emotionally introspective time, I would say. Like
this is still George W. Bush's America too.
Yeah.
Not only post 9/11, like post Iraq War, you're starting to get like a little bit of like critical thinking put into the mix. But like it's still very much like there is only one kind of tale that's being told. And
I'm looking up the films that came out in 2006, by the way.
But so what I'm saying is like, so the emotional introspection of it, right? Like he has the, you know, the stuff in the basement. Like I feel like it, you know, before this, you wouldn't necessarily have men talking about their feelings or working through, you know, grief and mourning and anger. And, you know, just the fact that when
at least 10 years away for popular media, I would say.
Yeah. And well, it is funny to watch Paulie, who's like, you know, probably the most autistic character in that era, like in early, you know, whatever, like 1970s media or whatever, try to like talk to him about his feelings and be like, is it anger, Rock? And he's like there's stuff in it just feels like there's a beast in there. It's like watching the two most emotionally stunning characters trying to explain you know, what they're going through. And it's like that's, you know, that's something that feels very of its time. I mean, even more so now, but like, you know, I think that's like the opening moment, I guess, of when that became an acceptable, you know, thing to portray on TV, which is cool. Like, you know, Rocky isn't just a one-dimensional character who's happy-go-lucky all the time, and like he is in the first couple, where he's kind of just running around, you know, having a good time, and like even after fucking Apollo Creed's mad and stuff, he's still like, oh, buddy, we're like best friends, right? Why are you mad at me? Like,
well, because there's. It's strange to talk about, but there's like a sweetness to the Rocky Balboa character.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's sort of like he's you know, murderously tough and etc. But he's there is a like especially all the stuff with Adrian, who is not controversial choice, not in this picture, and is instead, I hate to say it, fridged for the purposes of Rocky's story in this. And that is a decision, but it's a decision that, you know, again, talking back, like dealing with actual emotions, dealing with loss is probably the most thing that's relatable to most of the people that are not like film aesthetes or something, right? Everybody can deal with, can identify dealing with loss.
There's an original version of the script where she was still alive, and he said that he didn't think it was motivating enough to Rocky. He felt like killing her off and having him work through her death is something that would be way more motivating. You know, in that case, then
I mean, it's like she's his world, the entire movie series. So it's you know, it actually does make sense. It's just that it is an example of friendship, unfortunately. But,
yeah, and that's why
he can't do anything without her.
Too.
Yeah.
What's that, Andy? Like he's trying to process the anger, you know, for death through the only way he can, because that's the you know, like really like yeah, he's emotionally stunted and stuff, but like he healthily deals with it in the ring. Like he finds the right outlet for whatever it is he's going through.
Well, and then it's like at the end, like
relate to that too.
And it's like you still have that stuff in the basement. It's like, wait, it's like, you know, it's all gone or whatever. I can't remember what he said.
Yeah,
no, he runs up the Paulie, the stuff's out of the basement. It's no longer there.
yeah, which is great because when Paulie, good old casually racist autist Paulie, is your confidant, you know, you've got a shoulder to lean on.
By the way, what do you guys think of my my audio avatar?
There he is, folks. Ron, we wanted to have you on the show because we like having you on the show. You actually picked this one, and I'm glad you did.
I did.
What led you to pick Rocky Balboa? I could talk about it all night long, and I will. Give you the opportunity.
Well, go right ahead. No, it's I don't know. There's just something about the character. And this was, I never once, when I saw it I saw it in theaters, and I never thought it was, because I'm old, like y'all. Well, not you, but everybody else. And
these two are youngins. I think all three of us are about the same age.
Oh, okay, great. Fantastic. Yeah, that explains why my knees hurt when I get up.
I'm actually younger than Christina.
Yeah.
So it's, there's just something about it, and it, like you said, it felt like something that was almost like a fix for Rocky 5, and it was
like an apology somehow, like
in a weird way. Well, he was on. It's funny. I can't find the clip, but he was on Jonathan Ross, and Jonathan Ross asked him to rate all the Rocky movies, like 1 to 5 or whatever. And when he brought up Rocky 5, he said 0, because in the original script, Rocky was supposed to die.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
in a street fight. Yeah, that would have been
Yeah, so it's like,
He gets done with Apollo Creed and goes outside and someone just mugs him. He's just like, oh, well, he did go to.
They got this video game called Street Fighter.
And Adrian finds him.
Yeah.
Rocky.
I think an equally likable Italian stereotyped character kind of is the Fonz, and it kind of is fascinating that like these movies only exist because of Henry Winkler. Like he was the one that sold the scripts to studio executives, and then used his Fonzie. He used his cool capital, I guess, that he had to make sure that the script didn't get rewritten from the way that Stallone wanted to do it. So he was going to back out of it.
Well, they wanted Stallone out of the picture completely. They were going to pay him like $350,000 to not do the movie, to direct it. They just wanted to buy the script.
That's like the fucking Trailer Park Boys meme. It's like, I'll pay you $300,000 to fuck off.
Yes.
So, since I guess we're back to talking about the first movie now, it was nominated for writing. It was also up against Patty Chayefsky's Network, which did win, and justly so, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Even though I love Rocky.
Also, too, like with it being like this came out in 2006, so the 2007 Academy Awards obviously would have been what led up afterwards, and like I forgot, like the Departed, directed by Martin Scorsese, came out that year. I mean, I forgot, there was quite a few other. Obviously, Pirates of the Caribbean was like the highest grossing film of like 2006. But so like I just feel like this film specifically gets often forgotten.
It does, and it's too bad because honestly, for my taste, other than the first one, I think it's actually it might be my favorite.
Yeah.
So keeping going with these clips, I find this kind of fascinating. The way that they got the stadium to fight in the HBO thing is that HBO really was recording a boxing match.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So they just found a match that was going on and then recorded before it, where basically they asked the audience that was already there, like, "Hey, you guys get something special. You get to be in the Rocky Balboa movie. You guys excited for that?" So
boo! No, Rocky 5 sucked.
For a lot of reasons, Sly wanted to do all the boxing up front, primarily because then he's in the best shape because he's just finished the training routine, and once he starts shooting, then he's no longer can train with the same intensity, the same schedule.
A lot of people know that Sly's extremely fit and in shape, but this is a different kind of training for this. He gave himself, I would say, at least 6 months training to do this picture. It was a gradual build-up. He has a certain look that he wanted to make it believable in this fight. I believe when you see the picture, you'll see what incredible shape he's in.
Sly had his shirt on through all the boxing choreography. And the first time he took his shirt off was when we were shooting the weigh-in in Vegas. I was actually standing at the monitor, and Nicole, the hair girl, was right next to me. The minute he took his robe off for the first time, she went, oh! And I was like, I said, oh, God, look how cut he is.
One thing about Rocky we know for sure. This guy's showing up in shape.
He had to go through some real hard nights, lifting weights and running and preparing and just really having the mindset and then having to go to the gym and work.
I wish I could take his heart and his will, and his intestinal fortitude, and his desire to be great in this and bottle it and give it to some of the fighters I've trained throughout the years. I'd have 10 world champions by now. He amazed me.
It's unbelievable how hard he works and just his energy. And that inspired me in a lot of ways. It got me thinking about going heavyweight. So, I really feel good about myself right now. My energy level is up and I think I can conquer the world. And thanks for Rocky Balboa giving me that inspiration to really look at my career and say, I got a couple more years at this.
We're at the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada.
So then you have to find the venue to do the boxing. And originally we searched Los Angeles for potential venues that were 1, available, 2, large enough, and 3 wanted us. Sly was aware that HBO was shooting a pay-per-view match in Las Vegas, and he thought, wouldn't it be great if we could piggyback on that and get some cameras in there and shoot the crowd of 11,000 people, which we would never be able to afford to do.
Here is a special attraction before our main event. Here is your chance to be part of the next Rocky movie, Rocky Balboa. The light heavyweight champion of the world has moved up. Antonio Tarver will play the role of the heavyweight champion, Mason Dixon, and will now face the former champ. So right now, let's get loud. Entering the ring, let's get the Rocky chant going. Here it is, the former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, Rocky Balboa.
That would be pretty wild if you like are there for a boxing match.
Or you're there for
Obviously,
an event, period.
Yeah, but if you're a boxing match, especially if you're there for a boxing match, I mean, this is one of those things that this perfectly embodies like a thing. Like if you're a boxing fan, of course you know and love Rocky. How could you not?
Yeah.
And maybe there's like one guy. No, I don't like it. All right.
I do kind of wonder how things would have been though.
Yeah, no.
Stupid Rocky. I do kind of wonder what it would have been like if the original person that Rocky Stallone wanted to have in the movie as the heavyweight champion had said yes.
Who was that?
Roy Jones Jr., but he never returned his phone calls.
Really?
Yeah.
Lame.
Wow.
And during the fight between Tarver and Stallone, Tarver actually accidentally knocked out Stallone.
I bet he was like, "You did it, kid. You did it."
Well, I mean,
he always gets hurt in these movies, though. He got hurt in part 4 when they were doing the Drago fight.
yeah, they got hospitalized technically.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like it's
Well, the whole thing is that he lets like the fighting is happening is actually like real body shots and everything. Like he lets himself get beat the shit, which is it's one thing if you're fighting other actors. I think even if it's Dolph Lundgren, but like like even if they know martial arts, but they're like primarily an actor. I feel like it's completely different to like grab a boxer, like an actual boxer, and be like, hey, you want to come to be in my movie and I'll teach you how to act, but you know how to punch, right?
I mean, those reflexes don't go away because Don Amici, when he was doing Cocoon, he knocked out a extra who was supposed to punch in the film, and he actually really hit the dude and knocked over this like 20-year-old guy, knocked him unconscious with his punch. Old man Don Amici and Cocoon.
Didn't expect to hear about any Cocoon antics on this show yet. Here we are. Yeah.
We hear about Cocoon antics more than I expect to on the show.
Well, but it's like, I mean, his whole thing's he wanted to be authentic, right? So there's nothing more authentic than getting the crap kicked out of you, I guess.
Yeah.
I want to see a version of Rocky where Wilfred Brimley, our friend, is his coach, and he's like you have arthritis. You have arthritis in your neck. You got diabetes. So any punches that involve blood sugar are out. And
what are you talking about? I don't have diabetes. You got diabetes.
I love the fact that Sylvester Stallone is like a mentor to like a lot of these like actors in these films. Like he's like, here's what you gotta do, kid. This is like this, train like this, do it like this, and he's like, obviously like directing them as well, because again, like he directed. So it's like, he does take this shit seriously. And watching this film, I was like, damn, I got new respect for him.
Yeah, and it's still like, and again, he still doesn't get his guard up too.
My favorite story with Stallone and Dolph Lundgren is when Stallone showed up on the set of Masters of the Universe.
Did he hang dong?
No, and he shows up on
asking the real questions,
right? And he
down to brass tacks. Did he hang dong or not?
He was doing something with Canon. I forget what it was. It might have been Cobra or whatever. And he looks at the director and he sees that Dolph is like saying something. He goes, "You gave him lines?" I thought that was hilarious.
Did you guys hear like a few years ago or something? Carl Weathers and Dolph Lundgren like redid their fight for like an audience, like for like a stadium audience.
The one in the Apollo dies in Rocky IV.
Yeah,
it's funny that it's oh god, and we're already going all over the place with the entire Rocky series, so dragging Creed into it is going to make it more off topic. But I think the way that it is done to origin story Creed is fantastic and actually gave a new depth to Rocky IV that I never really thought about beyond throw the damn towel, which he's right, by the way. But anyway,
I'm not sure what I helped by that point.
Let's
see. I wonder, was Rocky Balboa nominated for anything?
Oh, I have the page up.
That was the Children of. So what? Other movies came out the year. Children of Men, one of my favorites of all time. That was that year,
right?
Was that the Queen? Yeah, you might be right.
Helen Mirren.
Apocalypto. That was the Apocalypto year. Pan's Labyrinth. The Host, but nobody Bong wasn't on anybody's.
The Departed.
Radar at that point. Departed. Idiocracy. Inside Man. That was the Inside Man year by Spike Lee.
Yeah, it didn't get nominated for anything. It got nominated. This was like the year that, or one of the years that they did all of these, like the dumb movie awards or whatever. Where they're like, oh, these are the bad movie. Like they tried to remake the, I don't know,
The Razzies.
Yeah, well, they tried to remake it, but like off-brand Razzies, and apparently they tried to give them a bunch of those. But which I think that they
How
should.
the hell did United 93 get nominated, but Rocky Balboa didn't? Like,
Well,
what the fuck is wrong with Dick Adams?
Stallone got his Golden Globe though, but it was for Creed. So,
well, at least someone recognized his performance in Creed, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
and that's lame.
I love the taglines. It ain't over till it's over.
Oh yeah, Last
Except
King of
for the 80s?
Scotland. That was that year.
Yeah, that line is really funny when he's like, "Was that from the 80s?" Like, I think it's from the 70s.
More like the 70s, yeah. There's a lot of good lines in this.
Oh, fun fact. This film was only shot in 38 days.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. The very first thing to be shot was the fight between Dixon and Rocky. This was done because Sylvester Stallone's training, which had been going on for 6 months, had to stop once the film went into production and began to concentrate on directing. If the fight had been left until the end of the schedule, Stallone would have not been as good shape as he was at the start.
His training and the other,
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, Best Picture winner was The Departed. Babel. I don't even remember Babel. Letters from Iwo Jima, that Clint Eastwood movie. Little Miss Sunshine. I like that one a lot. I forgot that I got nominated for Best Picture. Yeah, I don't know. It was sort of like, I mean,
Also-
Apocalypto was cool. Obviously, Mel Gibson was only beginning to be problematic on there. Children of Men got an editing nomination. I think that was it.
Yeah. Also, Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed, was meant to appear in several flashback scenes, but Weathers then filed a lawsuit against Sylvester Stallone and MGM over alleged unpaid royalties from previous Rocky films, and producers were therefore forbidden from using his image.
Want to get Mango?
well, now the reason that Rocky isn't in Creed 3 or even mentioned is because he's having a legal battle with Erwin Chartkov Erwin Winkler.
Yeah.
And Stallone just wants to give Rocky to his kids. He's not looking to make a ton of cash off of it.
Yeah.
He just wants to give it to his kids so they have a legacy to hold on to. And he can't. So he's like, nothing. I got nothing. I want nothing to do with it.
That's too bad because he's managed to turn into a great supporting role for basically a similar-ish but not the same series. There's unprecedented, really.
Well, I mean, Carl Weathers wanted Dolph Lundgren fired because that part where he throws him across the ring, he actually threw him across the ring.
Damn, he took that serious.
Yeah.
Good old Dolph.
Jesus Christ. Man,
Also,
what the fuck?
Stallone got arrested on the press tour for this movie because he had HGH in his bag, and he went to Australia and customs going through his bag.
Oh God, Australia is like, you have to let us know. Like, if you want to bring like a pet or whatever, we all remember the Amber Heard Johnny Depp situation. The dogs were not vaccinated for rabies because apparently rabies is like not a thing in Australia. Like, Australia is very like uptight when it comes to customs and whatnot. But good for Sylvester Stallone.
They have so much.
It was a prison colony at one point. I mean,
they have so much stuff to worry about there.
They haven't forgotten everything.
They don't want to have to worry about more stuff.
Yeah. There we go.
They were one of the few
spiders.
They were one of the first countries to be free of COVID, weren't they?
I think so.
Them or South Korea. Them or South Korea.
Whoa. Yeah. The turtles of this movie are the same from the original Rocky.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cuff and Link.
Yep.
What have they been doing? This
no, they're still alive. Stallone still owns them. He has a big tank. He keeps the turtles. And every once in a while, like, you'll just see a video like on his Instagram or something. He'll just be like, "Hey, yo, this is Stallone, and I'm here with my turtles. These are the same ones I had."
And the dog,
like the most wholesome person on Hollywood.
And the dog in part 1 is actually Stallone's dog. He had to sell it to survive, and then he bought it back when he got the money for Rocky.
Wow. All right.
I mean, no, that's why the dog reacts to him like it does.
The film was shipped. You know how people, when they ship films to theaters, they get like a different title?
Yeah.
Or a code name? The code name for Rocky Balboa was Nobody Parties.
Well, it's not wrong.
I mean, if that's the criteria, right?
It's interesting.
How do we feel about the characterization, the adult characterization of Rocky's son? Do we like that character? Like being embarrassed by your dad?
It would have been way funnier if if it had been played by obviously Coppola's sister plays Adrian, right? And,
Jason Schwartzman.
Yeah, so Jason Schwartzman is
Talia Shire's actual kid. Yeah.
Yeah. So it would have been so much funnier if he had showed up with his little goatee that he had for all the fucking Wes Anderson movies, and he showed up like that and was like, "Dad, you're gonna ruin my reputation."
Missed opportunity of casting right there.
Age was in Rocky 5.
Mike Tyson improvises lines.
He was he was in Heroes, right? Like the show that was basically X-Men, but they couldn't call it X-Men.
Nobody hits as hard as NBC does.
Oh wow! Arnold Schwarzenegger visited then Governor of California.
Oh, there he is. With the turtles.
Set.
All right.
They gave Stallone a certificate of recognition for supporting the state film industry.
Oh, there you
Arnold's
go.
an interesting character.
I love how the first comment is, "I hope they have a better habitat than this little tank with nothing in it. This is sad. I've seen some beautiful."
People just sit there talking trash in the comments. The internet's great.
It's a wholesome post. Come on, people.
This is on a film set. Like, this is not the setup that he keeps the turtles.
No, it doesn't matter to Tracy.
They expected to actually dress up as King Shark and be in the Shark Tank.
Tracy Yarborough's on the case. What's this chick all about? Click on that profile. Let's see what her tank looks like. God damn it! Got a career in banking, the military, and I graduated from U of Memphis. Good for you. What do you want? An award?
I love people.
Did you graduate in turtle studies?
Exactly.
I love people, animals, and nature.
What, you're a marine biologist?
Exactly.
I'm glad she has to specify that she loves people, animals, and nature. I was afraid she was going to leave something out, but I guess that's everything.
I love people, animals, and I hate nature.
I mean, those turtles probably live better than all of us do.
Yeah, no kidding.
No. I've actually seen like the because like I said, I've seen those videos. Every once in a while, Stallone will put it out in some newspaper. Will put like a clickbaity title. The turtles from Rocky still live with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, turtles live for a really long time.
Like 100 years. Yeah, they're gonna outlive him.
He abuses the turtles. That's what the clickbait title would.
And they should have a picture of Splinter right next to it.
No, he throws the turtles up in the air. He goes.
Which were those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies of where they had the puppet of Splinter and it was like doing confused?
That's the first one. I'm going to see it in the theater. I'm going to see it in the theater later this month.
Oh my god! Of course you are.
When it comes to Rocky's son, the characterization with Milo.
Yeah.
I think another reason why this film hit me so hard is because I kind of had that same relationship with my dad because he and I both have the same name. I'm not a junior though, thank God. And he is big in billiards and everybody knows him for that. And a lot of the time when my name gets in the public eye, people will go to him and say, "Hey, I saw that article in the paper about you or something." And it's like I've been living in his shadow my whole life. And it's not his fault. But I can totally understand where Milo's character is coming from in that position because I was the exact same way, except my dad didn't give me some speech about how hard life hits. He just said, "Could you go get me a Mountain Dew out of the fridge?"
Oh, that wasn't my dad. He just walked out.
But I think that dark. Okay. I also think that like it's
go from that.
It's only taken 40 years to get that pack of cigarettes, Pop.
Andy I was just getting ready for a sprint, and Andy just stuck his leg out and tripped me. I was like, "Oh, go!"
The turtles and Rocky live up to around 50 years.
Okay,
They're ready and sliders.
Okay, very good, very good.
I don't know. Whenever I see a turtle, I'd like to look up like what the turtles are because
you go on Turtle Book and friend them.
Yeah, I'm a big
guy. What type of turtles were?
I don't know. I wanted to know. I want to know
This
how long
one's got more moss than flies.
All right. Getting back to Milo's character, I think it's also relatable because there's no matter how cool you are, no matter what you've done, like your children also find it embarrassing at some point, and part of it has to do with them forming their own identity. So him being like, he's out with his like Wall Street bros, and they're like, it's Rocky, when they're
Rocky
and he's just like, oh my god,
Rocky Jr.
my god.
Maybe just shaming random people's social media pages is why I subbed to this channel.
Oh
We
my
do what we
God.
do. No apologies. If
So
she,
Weird Al.
she left the comment.
Weird Al kind of inspired this. Okay, 1984, Weird Al Yankovic made a song called "Theme from Rocky 6," I'm assuming, or 7,
13.
parodying Survivor's "Eye of the Tiger" that told of Rocky no longer boxing, but now owning a deli and catering service. Parts of the storyline of this movie mirror this song.
Yes.
Really? I don't actually know that one.
Yeah. It's like that week. What a disgrace! He heard it's good to stay hungry.
What's
Maybe it's Weird Al to
If you
inspire
play
Rocky
it-
Balboa.
If you play it backwards, it says "Free the turtles, free the turtles."
The turtles are typing in messages with their little hooves or paws, whatever they got. Yeah.
Al, you told us you were going to save us. You told us you were going to get us out of solitary. Fly to solitary.
Oh my God!
He's such a hypocrite. Sings about flying high now and won't even let us out of this cage.
This was Sylvester Stallone's most successful film since Spy Kids 3D Came Over. That came out in 2003. I forgot about that. Which looks like Ant-Man the Wasp films these days, but whatever.
Okay. Point of order. So the idea of like legacies and like how eventually he does come around. It wouldn't be an arc if there wasn't like some growth, right? Also not really fully understanding who his dad was and kind of like taking like certain aspects of the public image of it and just looking at something to overcome for himself. I think that's probably one of the things that works the best. I think the Marie storyline is fine. It's ultimately like not super consequential, other than you see him as a
woman to kind of inspire him along.
Yeah.
So he could, and like who else is really
to move. It shows that he's beginning to move on in his own life, right?
Two things though. He does say, "Look, my wife is gone, but she's not gone."
Yeah.
To squish all that romantic bullshit.
Like,
But they do actually. Yeah, they do mention in Rocky, not the one that doesn't exist.
That one.
Actually, they mention Marie in a deleted scene, and apparently, she's homeless, living on the streets of Philadelphia.
Oh wow!
Well, that's what happens when you call the world champion a creepo.
Exactly. No one will.
Now
Go somewhere else. You can't stay here.
I love the line where he's like, "Oh, you said screw you, creepo," and she's like, "No." He's like, good insults last a long time, and I was like, "Was that a good insult? Like that's not a very. It's just creepo. Like I don't know. It's not like
1976. So
she's talking about good insults that last a long time, right? But it's also like "Let's Dance" by David Bowie. You can't dance to that. It's a song about like how good it is to be dancing to a song that is not this one, apparently.
I could dance to it. I don't care. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. I'm ready.
It's okay, cool. You ruined my bit. I'm glad you're ready. You ruined my bit.
Also,
you want to dance to the song "Ruin My Bit" because you do a great job of it.
Speaking of dancing, Eye of the Tiger. I was wondering because there was that one episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, which was like a couple seasons ago, and they're going to play Eye of the Tiger over and over again. And he's like, "Oh, come on, this song again." They're like, "Apparently, there's not a whole lot of songs about Philadelphia." I'm like, "Really? There's not a whole lot of songs about Philadelphia? You gotta be kidding me! There's plenty of songs about Philadelphia, like
the song Philadelphia.
Yeah, from the movie Philadelphia, right?
Yeah. Technically, it's called Streets of Philadelphia. This has been a moving extravaganza. Snap. Correction.
The one thing that I don't think works about the Mueller character, it's a very minor like thing. The fact that he just kind of quits his job over that motivational speech and then like comes back and is like, "Oh, I'll go with you." I feel like it happened a little fast, and I feel like they could have done a little bit of development to get, you know what I mean, like a couple
That's
scenes.
fair. Yeah.
But
This ain't a Coppola movie.
It just feels like, I don't know. It just feels like.
Oh, what is this? Avatar: The Way of Water?
Don't get me started.
Well, no, because he gives him one speech and then he's like, "That's the motivational speech was just so good. I am throwing my life."
It was a great speech. I'd be like,
It was.
"Yeah, let's quit."
I love when he walks away and he goes, "Don't forget to visit your mother."
Yeah. It's good. That's amazing speech. I mean, it's very motivational.
He's also like, life throws you punches, and that's how you win. And he's like, or it's how I quit my job. Figure it out.
I mean, you could see throughout the film though that he was having a hard time at that job. They didn't want him there. He was right when he said he only got the job because of what his last name was.
Yeah, and it seems exactly, and so that's another reason why like he's conflicted by that because he doesn't even seem to really be enjoying it, but he's trying to forge his own identity and just finds that difficult. And
then he just runs off to goddamn Vancouver.
There's a whole arc too that it seems like the character kind of goes through because like in Rocky V, and I know we don't that movie doesn't exist.
If it existed,
he was an artist.
I can't believe he skipped over 5 and went for a Rocky 6
Weird.
film. I'm just shocked.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's not. That's why Rocky Balboa isn't Rocky V. It's just Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Yes.
But in the imaginary film Rocky V, he was an artist. Like he was actually a really talented artist, and and then all of a sudden he's working for a law firm. Like
maybe tomorrow you show me your English teacher.
Yeah.
They're gonna give Rocky one more movie, and they're gonna call it "Hey Rocco."
They'll call it "Screw You, Creepo."
Exactly.
Not for nothing, but apparently Dave Wasserman hasn't seen enough yet, and I'm like, come on, dude, hurry the fuck up here. Let's go.
Oh, for a second, I thought you meant from this movie. I'm like, what? This movie came out in 2006. What more do you need?
By the way, I think it's
throw the
really
damn
funny.
towel. Thank you.
I don't know shit about ESPN, and I don't know shit about like watching sports. Like I didn't
Same.
have people growing up, but
That's
I
my
do think it's
sister's
funny
thing.
that I could instantly recognize Skip Bayless.
Fuck
in
Skip
his very
Bayless.
Small
the
fucking
worst.
appearance in this. And just in that 1 second, it was just like stomach churning. He was talking shit about Rocky, and I'm like, "Fuck you, Skip Bayless." I was like, "I know who Skip Bayless is."
It was just like a reptilian reaction that you're like, that guy sucks.
I don't know who he was, but I had the same reaction.
What's funny is he actually graduated from Vanderbilt a year before Joe Bob Briggs did, and they both had the same scholarship.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right. Did not
Speaking
know.
You see how things went with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Bob
ESPN,
Brooks, come on the show.
You guys remember when COVID happened and so sports was canceled? You know what they were doing on all like the sports channels? They were airing old games from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And my dad's like, I remember this little bit. I remember this. I remember this match. I remember this hit or whatever. And I'm like, okay. My dad could have been a sports announcer, sportscaster because he knew his shit. And I'm like,
Well, when I would come
Would have
home
been better than
from
Steve
school-
He's never had his break.
when I would come home from school
He
in
never has to call the heavyweight champion title.
in the early 90s, I would come home and put on ESPN, and they would be showing the old home run derbies from the late 50s, early 60s.
yeah.
And it's like, wow, Willie Mays? He's still alive? And playing ball?
So another thing that I thought was funny. So the referee, right, on the when he with this like I'm fair but I'm firm is like a famous boxing referee who's like catchphrase. I didn't know that like boxing referees have catchphrases. But
Well, Judge Mills Lane.
He apparently fucking trademarked I'm fair but I'm firm and like used it as like his Twitter
Does
handle.
Mario have one?
What?
Mario's a boxing referee. Does he have one?
But like
It's me, Mario.
That's what you interrupted for? Jesus.
Yes.
so I don't know. I think it's interesting. There's like all these like masterclass things and like videos that this guy's done, like where he's teaching people how to be a boxing referee or whatever, and it's just like Mr. Fair but Firm or whatever.
Man, give me Mario to teach me that. I would much rather learn from Mario.
All right,
Doubling down. All right.
Yes.
You gotta commit
It's
to the
him,
bit.
Mario.
You got to commit to the bit, even like Joaquin Phoenix on David Letterman.
he touches gloves and instead of getting ready to the fight's about to start, he's like Yahoo!
But in like Chris Pratt's voice, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, the announcers at the desk during the fight, there was the two older guys and there was Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman wasn't supposed to be there. It was supposed to be Mr. T, and Clubber Lang was supposed to be a born again Christian.
No.
And yeah,
That would have been awesome. Holy
Yep.
crap.
yeah, but then they couldn't figure out how to work it something with Mr. T, so they went and got
Think
Max
about the
Kellerman.
what
Is
it
that when
is.
he was
Yeah.
battling cancer?
He might have been, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
but I loved it when Max Kellerman, like Rocky looks over at him and he goes, "How you doing?" And he says, "Rocky Balboa just asked me how I'm doing." He's like, he's fanboying, which was kind of, the way it would be, because that was the thing, is Rocky never did anything in his career to piss anybody off. people who watched him thought he was one of them, so they had something to kind of latch onto, and that's why this movie is so good.
Hey, you know what turned Mr. T into a born again Christian? This was the moment.
Oh boy.
Oh, Christ. Is that like your wallpaper on your computer?
No, but
lock screen.
I'm gonna treat my mama Nancy right.
This was 2 years after $1 Million Baby, by the way. I just looked it up for my own
Also, The
edification.
Wrestler came out like a few years later. If I'm not, there was a bit of like a wrestling, boxing renaissance.
I think The Wrestler is like the darker version of Rocky Balboa.
Kind of is. Yeah, I agree with that.
The same movie as Black Swan,
At
right?
least Sylvester Stallone still looks good for his age. Can't say the same about Mickey Rourke.
Tulsa King. If you haven't watched it, so good.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke looks like you got hit with the ugly stick, man.
Yeah.
That plastic surgery is bad.
Rocky versus Roddy Piper would have been interesting.
But I mean, he had to have that plastic surgery. It wasn't like a choice. So,
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it still looks bad.
It does.
Meanwhile, Sylvester Stallone still looks good.
Let the record show.
Oh my god! Imagine there being like a Little King Shark miniseries spinoff with him. Oh my god! Yo, James Gunn. I know you watch this podcast. Do it.
James Gunn definitely watches.
James Gunn, if you are watching, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
He's the guy that pops up with Flavor Flav. You know?
Yeah, he's just waiting for a shout out.
I'm not exactly happy with you canceling Doom Patrol, but make a good Superman movie, we'll be okay.
We just need more Sylvester Stallone as King Shark, and that's about it.
I wonder if he shows up in Guardians 3.
Yes, he was in Guardians too.
Yeah.
And so
With Miley
smart
Cyrus.
me.
So we've done everything except talk about Rocky Balboa, the movie that we came here to see.
Yeah, they were talking about Cinderella Man. That Ron Howard movie came out the year before this too. I don't know if you guys ever saw that.
With Russell Crowe, right?
Yes, and Renee Zellweger before she looked.
Who the fuck is Renee Zellweger? Sorry.
But it almost seemed like Rocky Balboa kind of continue on, like maybe Sylvester Stallone thought, hey, there's this need for like these, comeback stories or like inspiring stories, and he thought maybe I can, between Cinderella Man and $1 Million Baby, he probably thought I can fix Rocky, like that's.
Well, it was a pretty hopeless time too, as I guess
9/11.
technically we all lived through it, but as living through it as an
Yes.
adult,
That's his I could fix him moment. He's like, but
he did it to America. Yeah.
Hey, remember Rocky Balboa single-handedly ruined communism.
That's right. Exactly.
He got embraced by the entire Soviet Union. So
They're cheering for him now. All right.
Everybody can change.
This is the next in the list of clips that come from the six. I really think it's interesting how they filmed the fight and like.
No, I completely agree, and I'd love to talk about it. So let's check this out.
Veteran of the wars, here for one more. Rocky's an off-the-board underdog, and they don't care at all.
We had always planned to shoot boxing for 9 days, and Mandalay Bay only had 6 days available. So we were then shooting a lot quicker.
His professional record, 57 victories, including 54 knockouts with 23 defeats and 1 draw.
We use HBO. It becomes an HBO event, which I thought would be kind of unique. So we don't create a fictional arena. We borrow their blueprint and insert Rocky into a realistic situation.
He wanted to shoot the fight in high def.
It was actually very confusing at first. The traditional way of shooting boxing, I mean, he basically, mastered in the first 5.
You'll never see that in the boxing ever. It's always low angle.
Then when we got there and we started shooting and I started seeing some of the footage, what I realized was that it just lent this amazing realism to the boxing footage. It's quite astounding, and I think it was a very bold and courageous decision to go that way.
I thought, geez, the camera angles are always the same in fight films. I said, can you imagine if the camera is right there? And people go say, is that real? Is that a trick? Is that CGI? No, it's what HBO does. We set the cameras up at 4 spots and we let it wing.
It has the look and feel of a pay-per-view fight, which all fight fans, when they subscribe to a HBO or a Showtime, you see that fight. That's the look Sly wanted.
He's very familiar with HD. His house is all set up with HD equipment. So, I mean, that's what he watches every day. He was like, I want the drama and the dialogue to look one way, but I want the fight to look like I see it at my house. And we put this HD package together for him, and it really worked.
For the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
But the Vegas thing was great, working with Larry Merchant and the guys that I'm used to working with all the time.
Literally, the deals were closed the night before we were about to shoot. So right up to the last moment, we were negotiating that. And then that gets put to bed. And then we're starting to shoot in a venue that is incredibly busy. And we had to fit into their plan that we were guests. And we had to find the best way to make that work. And we're shooting right up against live events, Live Weigh-In, the live press conference. And we're shooting portions of it, and then we're using our own audience and stepping in right after to take advantage of the sets that they already had set up in the real venue.
The crowd is going to go crazy, so we got to be fast down here. Sure. And this makeup literally has to go on in 10 seconds. Yeah. 10 seconds.
It was really great. The fans was involved, and they act as if they was witnessing a real fight. We stole the show from Jermaine Taylor and Bernard Hopkins, unfortunately. I mean, the people say if they could have gotten as much action from that fight as our fight, I mean, they could have did 500,000-600,000 pay-per-view buys, but it wasn't to be. I mean, it was Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Tarver night.
I'm proud to say that every punch in the movie that you see that's a hit's a hit. And if it's a miss, we don't put a sound behind it to try to make it a hit.
Not only did he say, I'm not afraid to get hit, not only did he not say that, he said, please, I want you to hit me.
The heavyweight champion of the world doesn't like getting hit. The fake former heavyweight champion of the world enjoys getting punched in the face. All right, now that's a good hit. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was all acting. That was acting then. That was all acting.
He won't keep his head still. Watch this.
Bend your knees in, Tom.
Okay, good.
Do you like that?
Yeah, that was.
That hurt?
Yeah, I'm gonna fall.
Yeah, he didn't like that.
No, I'm cool. Go ahead.
He had that little.
Go ahead.
I'm afraid to hit you.
Oh, go ahead, man.
All right, here you go. Let's slip it.
Just have your distance. So you turning that over. You turn that shit over right there. You turn that shit over right there. I don't want to be on.
I don't get this opportunity to punch professionals that often.
His physicality, the way he was able to move in the ring and hit along with Antonio Tarver. I mean, I just found it incredibly impressive that day after day they were actually hitting each other.
I love that.
I love that they thought of like, let's actually make it look like a real, in my opinion, that's how it should be. I mean, when they do like news, like newscasters, news anchors, what do they do with the film? They make it look like an actual like newscast.
Yeah, well, and that's what's so great about it, because like but can you imagine that you have a real fight, like an actual like pay-per-view fight, and then like this happens before it, and it's obviously so much more awesome than your actual fight. Yes. That was the one thing I started fixing. I was like, oh man, that must have sucked for those guys. They're filming a Rocky movie before our fight. Why can't it be after our fight? You know?
The one complaint I have about that is, as great as it is, because I think it adds something to the movie. It does lose a little bit of the storytelling that the other Rocky movies have, where you can kind of like there's an arc to the fight, and there's a certain kind of drama to it that you lose because you're doing it like a broadcast. So you're not seeing the conversations in between the fights. But
there have been, we'll say, 4 movies that show that very well. 2 of them so well that it like defined a genre of filmmaking. Correct. What they talk about, like all the low angles and everything like that, right? And then like and use it as part of the narrative function, that to like basically reject that completely and make it look like that again. A lot of like Zoomer film letterboxers will they completely agree with you. They were like, oh, this movie looks hideous. Why did they do it this way?
I'm a little torn in the whole thing because I don't like the way HD looked back then.
Yeah, and it looks now.
It hasn't improved much.
It's almost like the de-aging. They still haven't gotten it right yet with that CGI technology.
Yeah, exactly.
But
some shots are still fuzzy.
But I'm just saying as a storytelling format. It's not the visuals of it, but
because they're not. I think so. What you're saying is like you're not getting the story of the fight in the same way where it's like choreographed out and planned out in such a way that
because like you remember like in the first one, it's like like you're feeling with Rocky's struggle to get through it.
Yeah, and they even revisit that in like Creed, especially in the first Creed. Like you get that and then some. Right?
And of course that first fight that he did, which is all one camera shot in Creed, is phenomenal. Like that's incredible that they did a single shot boxing match like that with the camera moving in and out of the fight. That's amazing. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about this movie right here.
Right, and it's a purposeful choice not to use the filmmaking tricks and the filmmaking style that made the franchise popular.
And I just the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I feel like that fight, and I'm glad it's shorter than a lot of the other ones, which is good. But it doesn't quite have the same drama as the others because of the fact that it's not the it doesn't bring you into the inside of the ring like the other movies did.
I hear you, and so let me counter real quick and just say that it's not the center of the movie.
No, it's not. It's a double-edged sword to me. Like I like it, and I also don't like it. So there you go. You have it.
I fucking love the PlayStation 1 graphics.
I know, so it's so great. Yeah.
2006. This is definitely 2006 on ESPN.
Yeah.
I think it's more PlayStation 2. PlayStation 1 would be a little more
all right,
angular.
snap correction.
Snap correction.
But yeah, this style of
Tony, you gotta record yourself doing that.
I know, I really should.
Just have it in the soundboard.
But just I
like get a soundboard.
The primitive fucking computer animation or whatever that they did for this, because it's it directly centers it in 2006.
Yes,
100%. And for me, that's not a bad thing. But it's an aesthetic choice, and again, I love the aesthetic choice of having it in that very very much if you turn on the television and watch a boxing match, it looks exactly like that. But I get getting the storytelling done without any of those stylistic things, because again, it's a stylistic choice, but it's something that if he hadn't basically pioneered look all of these boxing movies rip off Rocky. They rip off Rocky, they rip off Rocky 2.
The
rip off Rocky
Kid
4.
is Rocky for kids.
Well, they actually wanted to use that "No One's Never Gonna Stop," that the theme song from Karate Kid. They wanted to use that instead of "Eye of the Tiger." Yeah, they were gonna. "Eye of the Tiger" was gonna be for Karate Kid.
Okay.
I come out of nowhere to just drop knowledge on your ass.
Which we all know the debate whether or not Daniel LaRusso actually won because he did that illegal crane kick. And I'm
Daniel was really the bully.
If they really wanted to make it like Rocky, then he would have lost. But now there's that debate about whether or not he should have won. And I'm like, it is Rocky for kids. So.
I really think that
Cobra Kai does a pretty good job of getting
by
the way.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
Is there another season of that coming up?
Yeah, I know we all hate Karate Kid 3. And we don't acknowledge 3 or 4.
I don't even feel like that needs to be articulated. That's just an objectively bad movie, I feel
But I like the fact that Cobra Kai does redeem Terry Silver. Because I am a fan of the actor. I think he does really well in that role.
He's great in Cobra Kai too.
Yeah, so he gets Karate Kid 3 and gets a redemption, is what I'm saying. By actual good writing, which again, writing is what makes a movie. And Sylvester Stallone did an excellent job.
And then Karate's bad boy is working in a carpet store or a furniture store.
As long as you're not trying to redeem the next Karate Kid, because that is a firmly irredeemable one. Plane.
On my ship.
It does like a real televised fight. Yeah,
that's what I like. That, though.
I appreciate the aesthetic, and I'm not trashing the aesthetic of it. I'm just trashing I'm just saying that there's a loss of the storytelling, and that's it.
You're an artist. You want it to look pretty. I get it.
Well, there's also the thing about
should have Dario Argento do it. Maybe then you'd like it.
I feel like they
Dario Argento's Rocky Balboa, amazing.
But I feel like
they have to be better than his Dracula.
Oh, Jesus.
I feel like they purposely kind of in the first two they anonymize it or something, they make it kind of an anonymous. Like it's never like you're like, oh well, you're watching CBS or like like something on TV, and this is like they never really.
There's no like firm identification of you're right,
Then,
except for Stu Nahan.
In this one, they the fact that they lean heavily on the HBO thing, you think like, well, maybe that's an accident. Or not an accident, but like a branding thing or like an advertising thing. And then it's like, oh no, they're just literally using the HBO set. And like that made me like the movie a lot more.
I kind of love that. Yeah, I mean that's kind of great. But like I was saying, like it must have sucked for those dudes that were actually trying to do a pay-per-view fight. That they're like they had to shoot this before our fight. They can't shoot it after.
They're like, all right, that fight's over. We watched Sylvester Stallone get punched a bunch, and they're like, and now tonight's event.
And everybody's like filing out. Yeah, oh, I'm good.
Bernard Hopkins is in the ring by himself. Where'd everybody go?
It's also funny that Antonio Tarver, like the boxer that who like is a real boxer and like has like a pretty incredible record, I think, and
and beating his wife too.
Worked on this movie. Like it's pretty funny to hear him like shit talking in the classic boxer way to be like, this was our night, like those guys, they had their little fight, whatever, but like this is the night. This is the night that we killed it in the boxing ring, and just like for a movie.
Exactly. But it is kind of.
I was gonna say it's not every day you get to see Rocky Balboa in the ring.
Exactly. That's
for most people it's 0 days because he doesn't exist, but here
he's still real to me. Damn it!
It worked out for the people at that match. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying for most people it's 0 days. For for people that were there that night, it's at least one day that they've seen Rocky in the ring.
All right, we appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
I think my dreams.
I think that it's amazing to me.
Buddies aren't real.
That of all the people in the Rocky circle, I'm just gonna keep it coming back to it. That Paulie, like this is the most odious character of like the entire, just like that guy of your family, like that guy, who's again still casually racist. By the way,
more racist.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
What character development?
Yeah, exactly. What's your character development? Oh, you're more outwardly racist than it was before. Great.
Well, as you get old, people don't get less racist as they get older. If he was suddenly woke Paulie.
Oh my god, are we gonna get more racist as we get older?
Woke Paulie.
I will say this though,
if he came in and he's like, yeah, I would leave my silverware around all the Puerto Ricans. I'd be like, that doesn't seem accurate to his character. But when he's like, hide the silverware, it's like that seems accurate to the character. He is.
Right. To be explicitly clear, I don't think anyone was calling for woke Paulie. But what I'm saying is that of all the characters to be around,
I know what you're saying.
Reservation. What do I look like, an Indian?
Yeah,
although to be fair, and I'm not trying to defend his.
Because woke Paulie be like, Rocco, you gotta respect the pronouns.
he did realize at the end that he treated Adrian like shit.
Yeah,
he did. I mean,
one thing. There's one in the win column for him. Yeah.
One is better than none at this point.
Exactly. Well, Paulie wears a pussy hat to the ring. Paulie is still with her.
Oh man, damn.
I wasn't into James until this Hillary Clinton lady came out, and I'm like, I think I'm with her.
Jesus.
But who else would be the one driving, Rocco around everywhere? He's not doing anything. He's still working in the same fucking meatpacking plant, like trying to make it. And he's also, I like that he's the relative that tries to make a buck off everything. And like,
$1,000 off your back.
Yeah.
He's like, I think I can make more money with the advertising. And he's like, yeah, do that, Paulie. It's like, this guy is, I would have cut ties with this guy when fucking.
Burt Young actually does own a restaurant in the Bronx, apparently, and is still alive.
Huh. And probably employs a lot of Puerto Ricans.
Just by, one would imagine just by like law of averages.
But there's no silverware in the restaurant. It's weird.
Everybody's going to eat with their hands.
You go downstairs, there's a locker. He locks it at the end of every night, and all the silverware goes in there.
And he counts it before he puts it in.
Horrible.
I like that. first the Hispanic girl that's working at the door as his hostess that ends up leaving because she has to get pregnant, and then because she got pregnant and was having the kid, and then and then
I'm leaving. I gotta go get pregnant.
I'm ovulating over here.
I'm not getting any younger at this job, Rocco. No, but like first her, and then everyone at that restaurant just seems so exasperated by like what a shit show it kind of is. You know what I mean? Like it's an endless supply of like Rocky's friends coming in and out. Like that really is what it's like working at that kind of restaurant.
And
like,
and Rocky was like offering birthing tips. Don't forget to pour olive oil on your stomach. It'll make your pasta way better.
She should have had him come in and give a motivating speech as she's giving birth. He's like,
it ain't how hard pushing is.
It's not about how hard you push. It's about how hard you get pushed and keep going.
Get pushed and push yourself out.
It ain't over till it's over.
It ain't over till the placenta comes out.
And then you eat it raw.
The afterbirth is, people forget about the afterbirth, I tell you. I've never had a kid, but I know a thing or two.
And the poop. And the poop.
Yeah, that's one thing. I'm like, I've never having kids. Everyone's like, does that happen? I'm like, yeah, it does. And you might even tear a few
your painting
things.
falls out of your crotch. It's disgusting.
Yeah. You have to put everything.
What the fuck is this show turned into?
I don't know.
And how can we make it not be whatever this is now?
Letterboxd one-liners, perhaps? Or we got? Of course, you have any more clips?
Please.
Oh, so I have a special treat for. I don't know if we deserve it, but
probably not.
I'm thinking about heading back to the studio, frankly.
So we
that's a long drive in this weather.
Right. Yeah.
We talked about how there's a lot of autistic representation in the Rocky universe.
Yeah.
Well, let's take it a step further. We got Bobby Winan interviewing.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Let's go.
We call her the Adrian of Austin.
We first met on the junket, the press junket, for the first Rocky in 1976.
Yes, indeed.
And I remember
wanna be here.
well that there was such an excitement, but at the same time, I wondered, and I have wondered since then, were you just scared out of your wits at that time? Because the film hadn't come out yet.
I was too stupid to be scared. I was just flabbergasted by the whole thing because, when we made it, we never intended it to be more than like literally quote second billing at a drive-in. And for you, those drive-ins don't exist. But so it was kind of a B film venture. So we had no idea. I never in my wildest dreams would ever anticipate anything like this. 30 years later is beyond comprehension.
And then it went on to win the Oscar over Taxi Driver, over Network.
I know, great year. President's Men, just Seven Beauties, fantastic. So I was, what is it about the character? Because it isn't me. It's the character that touched the nerve. And when the last Rocky V didn't turn out, and I felt as though I let people down, it became an all-consuming dream to just end it the way I should have ended it that time. And it was harder, Bobby, to do this one than it was the first one.
Well, now the first one, if I am reading it correctly, you wrote in 86 hours.
Yeah, well, that's true, but it wasn't very good. But at least, see, here, you have two ways. You can do it slow and good or fast and sloppy, but get it done. And I'm kind of fast and sloppy, get it done, and then do the rewrites. So I don't want people to think that, okay, here it is, let's go win Oscar. No. It was but at least got the concept down, the idea of who this guy was, and bits and pieces. Maybe 10% of it was salvageable.
Who's inspired Rocky? Who was the original Rocky in your mind?
Well, the original Rocky was, I think the fact that Rocky Marciano existed and Rocky Graziano gave birth to the belief that those kinds of characters do exist and then could exist in fiction. And Ali was a perfect template for Apollo Creed. So that's the original. People think there was Chuck Wepner. It was Rocky Marciano. But when I saw the fight between Wepner and Ali, I went, oh, this is kind of interesting. This might make an interesting metaphor for life.
But isn't there some of Rocky in you, or some of you in Rocky?
I'd be flattered to have some of Rocky in me. I think he's a much better guy than I am. Yes, especially in the first one and this one. These were real semi-biographical movies, and there's no getting around it. That's why I think they're the best in the series.
Your own philosophy, though, is, if you get a dream, is to follow it through.
Yeah.
You've always done that.
Well, we're only go around once, and it's if you're willing to put up with the humiliation and the dissenters and every now and then the voice inside of you going, quit. If you can just ride through that, I think it gives your life purpose and you'll feel better in the end. But it's frustrating because sometimes it takes 7 years to get something done. 7 years. And my wife's crying every day. Said, don't do this. Please don't do this. You're gonna be embarrassed. I said, it's okay. I'll feel a lot worse if I don't try.
Hell yeah.
Although she didn't say that for Grudge Match, and he should have listened to her for that.
God damn.
By the way, I got to hit it with the breaking news. It seems like Brandon Johnson is projected to have won, as of a few minutes ago, the Chicago mayoral election.
And the Wisconsin Supreme Court, the progressive candidate, it looks like she's probably going to win because she's the percentage points in all the counties are fucking. They're like it.
Yep,
I gotta check Racine's mayor because the opponent to the incumbent is a huge extremist and a Trump supporter.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's also
Did you hear that old Krusty pled not guilty to 34 counts of business falsifying documents?
Look. We're barely on topic as it is.
But he's not as cool as Rocky Balboa is.
Yeah,
exactly.
Rocky Balboa would have never.
He actually loves his son.
Rocky Balboa would have never paid hush money to a porn star. He would have never been in that situation.
He would have said, "No, my wife is gone, but she's not gone.
I'm still married to her."
Bobby continues to be a weirdo even when she's not hilarious.
She just sounds so sweet and nice, and it's like we gotta get her on the podcast before she dies.
She's incredibly thirsty sometimes, but not all the time.
So we met in 1976. Exactly, and then so were you scared when?
I just love that smile that he gives. Like I don't remember you, but I'm gonna pretend like I do.
So we did letterbox one-liners, eh?
Yeah.
Eh? Letterbox one-liners, eh? So of course, Letterboxd is a social media site for film, a place where film lovers can talk at, with, and to each other about the movies they love, the movies they didn't love, the movies that they complain incessantly about the high-def fight footage of. And of course, all these things, it's a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say, not just Siskel's and Eberts of the world. And it's best expressed succinctly. Keep it tight. Drop those hurting bombs in. And these are the letterbox one-liners for Rocky Balboa. Let's go.
Sorry, Ebert, we miss you. It's been a decade as of today since you're gone.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Men will literally look at computer simulations instead of going to therapy.
Rocco, I found some good advertising promotions with the computer fight.
What if he got his robot involved? Oh, that's been redacted from the canon, I guess.
Men will literally beat their meat rather than going to therapy.
Indeed. Thank you, Rocky. I really need that pep talk. Also, please, can you be my second dad?
Relatable.
You don't ask that. It just happens. You're in the neighborhood enough times, and you don't ask Rocky if he's better than you. He'll adopt you at some point.
Just call him a creepo and he'll bring you in.
Exactly. Just ask steps. Oh God. I love how Rocky 5 just doesn't exist according to this movie. I love that too.
hard relatable.
Imagine killing off Adrian but leaving Paulie.
It's realistic. We don't choose the best people to stay alive. It's a toss up.
Mm-hmm.
Woman cancer,
Woman cancer. Fuck yeah, he beat his meat again. No punctuation, which I appreciate for that, by the way. Rocky heard Skip Bayless talk for 5 seconds and instantly got depressed. He's just like me.
For real.
It's pretty crazy that like I've never watched any kind of sports TV and I instantly knew that voice and was like, oh man, fuck this.
Horrible. Top 10 dad movie of all time.
It's about how hard you keep on going. You know, it's not about how hard you hit. You'd be like, dads everywhere were like, hell yeah, this is.
When you're lighting that grill, you gotta hit hard.
It's not about the burgers you flip. It's how you get flipped and keep going.
Exactly. Classic Rocky movie. They even got Polly to still be racist.
Imagine Polly having character development. Couldn't be me.
Well, nobody gets better as they. I mean,
I think that's a much larger conversation that we're not going to have in this show because we've already had enough. But
yeah, but it's just.
I've seen enough.
It's funny.
I mean, his manager's even black. His supervisor or whatever when he.
He's one of the good ones.
So there's a lot of I'm sure resentment from Mr. Foley there.
Rocky's veins in this movie look like ramen noodles.
Well, now I'm hungry.
Hey, at least he wasn't on steroids like some dudes.
Like
yeah. No, it's human growth hormones. It's not steroids.
Whatever.
When Stallone releases his director's cut, I want Gritty added to the end credits montage.
Yeah. I think that there should be a final Rocky movie where he has to fight Gritty.
Yeah, but like he's like jumping through different timelines because like none of the timelines quite.
But then they have to team up. They have to team up afterwards. That'd be the only way.
Every Rocky, everywhere all at once.
He fights Gritty, but then Gritty wants to fight like another mascot, like the Phillies, or not the Phillies mascot, like the a mascot for like the Pittsburgh Pirates or something. Like Gritty wants to fight another fucking Pennsylvania mascot, and he has to train Gritty. So it's
like Deadpool and Cable.
Exactly. Just like it. Anyway, those are the letterbox one-liners for Rocky Balboa. Please follow the show. That's Mason, Rebel Yell, Dixon, always Flacco. Nobody wants to box anymore over there, representing for the show. I am Conan Neutron at Conan Neutron, Hurtin' Bomb Builder, all over the letterbox. Watching the highbrow, the midbrow, the populist fair criteria. I know you have news. Settle down, Cosme Balboa. And please follow me as well. Follow me along for the Criterion Challenge if you dare. If you dare. Heavyweight champion of the world, aka the J. Andrew variety. Rocky 5 booster club president is watching all the weirdest stuff. So you don't
Rocky
have to.
7. Those are eyes.
I thought those were exclamation points.
Adrian's Revenge.
Okay.
Yes, Adrian's Revenge.
Well, I appreciate you snap correcting me at the end of the bit where I'm introducing you. It's really important.
Yes.
So if you want to watch a bunch of crazy horse crap that nobody cares about, Andy's watching, and then you can follow along and maybe figure out if that's for you or not. I don't know. Who am I to judge? Master of Disaster, Ron Purtee down there, Uncle Ron. He's all over Letterboxd as well. You can follow him. He's shadow boxing with all the great cinematic works, and he's doing it for you, folks. He's doing it for you, the kids. Cosme Balboa apparently has news to break. The Duchess is on Letterboxd, but only when she deigns to be, and maybe we can lure her back on. Who knows? Break your news, please. I know it's killing you.
The Wisconsin Supreme Court is now 4-3 liberal versus conservative. What?
Well, then my vote was wasted. I'm kidding.
I wish we had that. I wish we had our all quiet the Western Front music ready.
Get that crowd rate going.
Good, though.
It's on my tablet. It's like charging across the room. Unfortunately.
By the way, Rocky V. It's not Rocky 5. It's Rocky V, and it's the birthing video that of Adrian giving birth.
No, it's the birthing video of the woman that's working at Rocky's restaurant.
I told you about the olive oil.
Yeah.
Push through it. Push through it.
That ain't amnio fluid. That's olive oil.
Fucking breathe.
Apparently, Sherry is on Letterboxd too. Follow up. follow me. I mean, okay.
And I'm at Uncle Ron on Letterboxd because
I was gonna say-
I believe in branding.
I felt like my report was doing somebody's desk suddenly. Whoa, follow up. Oh, Jesus. I'm gonna reach out. Yeah.
Get your get your reports in by Monday.
Exactly. My TPS reports are late
Yes.
again.
How am I supposed to hand in something with your handwriting, Neutron?
So, do you guys think Paulie would be like a frequent podcast guest on like certain right wing podcasts?
He would have been on Ben Shapiro all the time.
Yeah,
Joe Rogan has
and he would be like a Carl Pilkington sort of character, in the fact that people would be on there mostly like for him to be made the butt of the joke, but he would just be happy for the attention and like
Carl.
Yeah.
And also, I could see him like blowing up in like fucking red pilled circles though.
Yeah, but he'd be like on something weird like Man Cow or something.
Oh.
He'd be like my sister was a bitch, but you know Rocky was pretty cool.
Jander World takes away with the plugs, please, for the love of fuck.
Yes, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, please do the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and the big ask: watch the video to the end. That helps new movie fans find our content.
Who apparently sometimes tune into this show and are usually very surprised, I would imagine.
Yes, especially the way this episode went. But if you're watching us over on Twitch, do the Twitch things. Throw us a sub. If you have an Amazon Prime account, the big ask is to give us a sub through Amazon Prime. That doesn't cost you a penny, but that actually really does help us out. So thank you very much for doing those things. We are all over social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if that's your poison of choice, please find us there.
What's your poison? Facebook,
olive oil,
Instagram.
Your bums, you gotta pick your poison.
Pick your poison, your bums.
Social media weakens legs.
There we go. But yeah, please.
There you
find
go.
us.
Indeed.
Please follow
That
us.
was some. That was some pitch. Pick your poison of the thing to follow us with. Yeah.
That guy would have also, the coach would have also been a hit on those red pill podcasts. You know what I mean? They're like, you don't have time for women.
You bums.
You goddamn incels.
You fight better when you're dry.
Clean your room.
Get back in your grandma's basement in your underwear and make that comment on that video. Because Mickey loves you.
Yes.
When I'm done with you, you're gonna podcast lightning and comment thunder.
You're a bum. You're a bum. You went to chats. You get no engagement. I'm gonna change that for you. Type.
You got speed, greasy, fast Italian commenting speed.
And you know what you should do with that speed? Go over to Patreon and go to Movie Night Extravaganza and sign up there to get access to after parties.
He turned into Bernie Sanders.
I'm asking you one more time for money for my Patreon, please.
Once again, asking you to join the Movie Night Extravaganza.
Patreon.com/Movie Night Extravaganza. Everyone head over there right now. I'm once again asking for Patreon donations.
Look here. I don't want to interrupt anybody, but if you think I'm guilty, if you really think I'm guilty, go subscribe to their Patreon.
That's like Trump with his dentures out. I like it.
And his hair off.
Wow, I had a thing. It's way gone now. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
Thank God I have notes because I'd be lost at this point.
Just like the audience. Keep going.
Yes. No, big thing with the Patreon. You sign up, you get access to our after parties, which are briefly live, for you for free, but then they live forever on our Patreon. So there you go.
We haven't done one in a few
Probably
weeks,
not, but we'll go with it.
We'll be back doing them real soon.
I feel like y'all did the after party during this episode, frankly.
Yeah.
But, whatever. Maybe that's me.
Yeah, I think there were definitely. Yeah, we need to edit that
aspects of an after party.
Yeah, we need to get it out of our system. It would appear royal we. Thank you.
Yes. But Conan, you have some stuff coming up. You just were in the studio, but you can still get dangerous nomenclature at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com.
That's true.
Which is exciting.
That's true. You can do that.
You can do that.
And
it is. It is happens to be Easter, and what better way to celebrate?
It's a great Easter gift. Do people give Easter gifts? I don't think they do. Yeah, hide it with your eggs, I guess. I don't know.
My grandma used to buy me Easter presents.
Hey, Easter albums. There you go.
Yeah,
sure,
and and while you're doing that, get some Caterwall tickets to put in those eggs.
Yep. Wow. Okay, that'd be some surprise. Caterwall, what's that? Well, honey, it's called Noise Rock.
Tickets, week, and eggs.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guests there, including Joe Cannon is going to be doing several sets with I know he's with Secret Friends.
He also plays in Action Chief, which is a band that I play in, that I play guitar in, and he's also in Resurrectionists, and Resurrectionists are great, and their album they're
fantastic.
Yes. As of Monday, at the time of this airing, it is available on all the other things that are not Bandcamp too, that people enjoy. And you can get a record and a CD of it. It's a great band.
Yeah, no, it's a great album, and y'all should definitely check it. Get a copy and go to Caterwall and see them live.
If you like Murder by Death, you'll like them.
Yeah, Joe was on Ron's show, live show, couple
a year ago.
Back, a couple
a year ago.
I almost said.
Well,
I was like 3 waves back, right? Yeah.
Well, I was at the doctor today, and he told me that today was supposed to be the day that we were all supposed to take our masks off in the hospital. But apparently the transmission rate is back up again.
Yeah.
So
that's a holiday I do not observe. Let's put it that way. Anyway, yeah, buy
but
Caterwall I guess. Sure.
So look for our Wings of Desire episode if you want to know more about this, and but also check out everybody who's going to be at Caterwall.
Yep, I agree with that. Joe Cannon and John from Resurrectionists are going to be on Protonic this week too. So
exciting
and complete complete cross-pollination world. But yeah.
Pollinate those crosses.
Exactly.
How do you think Jesus came back to life? It's my firm belief that Jesus faked his death for the insurance money. But then again, everything I know about Jesus, I learned from The Last Temptation of Christ. So
I think that Jesus is hanging out with Tupac right now on that island.
So
just Biggie and Jesus and Tupac. And
no, Biggie's dead. Biggie's dead, but Tupac's still alive, and him and Jesus are enjoying their time on Epstein's Island.
Yes.
Well, where's Elvis?
Death of Christ by purchasing Conan's music in a terrible movie, apparently. What? Nothing? Okay. I thought this was a movie show. Anyway, whatever. But yeah, you can subscribe to Protonic Reversal, and also there's a Patreon. It's $1 a month, Bernie Sanders style. So people should probably do that as well.
Yeah, and you get access to this great interview early. The Joe Can't. Yes.
And Medicare for All
coming up. All right.
We'll see where it takes us.
Yes. And Christina has a great Twitch channel.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're gonna
that
read
sounded oddly erotic.
We're gonna be reading all 16 pages of the Trump indictment papers. So apparently there's a love child involved, which we knew, but it just confirmed it. I was just like, I don't think that's true. I'm like, I'm gonna read the document, sis.
Look, it's all written in crayon.
Yeah.
And the R's are backwards.
Yeah, and also we're gonna watch the Barbie trailer.
Barbie movie coming out.
Margot Robbie's flop era is over.
Greta Gerwig. I don't think I've seen her miss yet. She's very consistent.
So. Yes.
My wife is excited about this movie. So yeah, let's go Barbie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's go Barbie, just like let's go Brandon. Yes.
Yeah, for reals this time.
Joe Barbie.
And of course,
getting that stimulus package, if you know what I mean. Hey.
It's all smooth down there. How can you get a
I've been posting memes left and right, and there's one of
Ben was a smooth dude, and he ran.
Kids have had their fun from Drive. Kids have had their fun already. Now it's real men's.
Good. It's good. Light them up, folks.
And if you like this, please buy Christina a coffee. Go to coffee.com.
If you like this, this conversation? What are you talking about?
Like the Barbie movie.
If you like
the
me,
Barbie
guys,
movie, go buy Christina a coffee, and that coffee might be her Barbie ticket. And you know,
yeah.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Waiting
Yeah.
for some cosplay outfits to drop because I got ideas.
Oh no.
No.
That's quite the reaction.
You go cosplay as Trump.
I already did. I don't know if you've ever seen the video I did where I dressed
Oh
up
God,
like Trump.
I should have put I should have used Dream Map Mousse foundation tonight. I can't believe they still sell that. That's the stuff that he uses on his face. Like it's so thick and cakey that he uses. Like he's like as if he hasn't left 2006 when it comes to his makeup. Literally.
2006, the year Rocky Balboa came out.
Yeah.
You know, for audiences.
Like to point out, BJ is for BJ. If you can prove that you voted for Brandon Johnson for mayor of Chicago, I will give you head. It's as simple as that. Fuck Paul Fallis.
Yeah.
Negative.
I did not commit voter fraud.
I actually did a Trump video where I was dressed up like Trump and I read the lyrics to Wet Ass Pussy.
Wop, wop, wop.
Pussy.
Wop, wop,
There's
wop.
some holes in this house. There's some
They
holes
call
in
it
this house.
a wet ass pussy. Have you heard of this? Yeah.
More and more people are talking about the wet ass pussy.
Uncle Ron,
so, on that note,
more and more people are talking about the plugs and if they may eventually be over.
Yeah, I think we got one more to go through because we gotta plug Ron's stuff. He's got a podcast, he's got movies.
Okay.
Yes,
I do. Let me stretch. Okay, so Becoming Undead 3 is out. We just had the premiere of that a week or two. I think it was a week ago, and that's on my YouTube channel. And I have 2 different comic books coming out. They're both at the artists right now. We're waiting on that. And what else do I have going on? Yeah. I wrote a segment for a movie that's being filmed right now called Body Count. And it's the most violent segment in the film. I'll just say that somebody does get drawn and quartered. Because when I kill somebody, I want it to be straight out of 1580. So
In Roblox.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just check that out and
get you a man that can do both. Yeah.
And when you're at my YouTube channel, check out all my other stuff and hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm at 629. So I know I'll never make it by my birthday, but before June, maybe.
Let's try to go over there and like the channel right now, everybody.
Yeah, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But so and I'm actually working on a video right now talking about why Shrinking is the best show on television.
You know, I've seen 3 episodes of it and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just finished catching up on Ted Lasso and I really enjoyed that. Believe it or not, I didn't think I would because I'm not big in soccer.
This episode brought to you by Apple TV Plus, apparently.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the spinoff, Growing. You know? But yeah.
Honey, I grew the kids.
It all depends on the temperature of the water. Okay, moving on.
Uncle Ron, we need some some final thoughts. Anything we didn't get to, or you wanted to bring up, or we talked about everything. I think we we said it all.
I think Rocky is just a simple character with a lot of love in his heart who was given a bum rap early on in life. Wouldn't have cared if he ever won the world title as long as he had Adrian. He couldn't do anything without her. I think he also forgot what his child's name was because he never called him Robert. He always called him Kid. If you notice. Yep. But I think that he kind of, everybody has, I don't know if everybody does, but a lot of people have this notion of the American dream and being the underdog and fighting back from the crap and becoming something. And that kind of happened in this movie. And it's why it's so in all the movies actually, but that's why I think the character is so endearing. And yeah. And I like how this all started because I was looking for Rocky Balboa to stream and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then I finally found it. I was so happy. And all I did was post on Facebook, Rocky Balboa was a fantastic movie. That's all I posted. And then all of a sudden, here we are.
Dreams do come true.
See? Right there. Proof.
That's the American dream. You know, next thing you know, you post a status, you're on a small time podcast.
With big time nonsense. Yes.
Christina, final thoughts.
This is a good redemption story, a really good comeback, if you will, from that fifth film that does not exist. It's probably my favorite of all the Rocky films, to be honest. And I really think Sylvester Stallone fucking killed it with, you know, everything. He's so meticulous. He takes this seriously. Like if it were anyone else, I don't even think they would actually. It would have not been executed properly. You can tell he cares about the character. He cares about the story. He cares about whether or not the boxing has to be accurate. So I say, when it comes to how many Adrians, this is like a 12.
Nice.
Nice. Andy?
One of the things I don't think we really talked about is that this is also a love letter to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a beautiful city with
and
beautiful people
running in.
I've always enjoyed my time in Philadelphia. I think it kind of captures the energy, like, you know, walking down the street and seeing a woman hop out of the car and yell at somebody, "I'm going to cut you the fuck up." You know, it's Philly, and I love it.
Heart-wrenching.
Yes,
quite touching.
I think this is a great love letter to the city, because, you know, it does kind of capture, you know, the people, because like we see New Yorkers all the time, like New Yorkers in like every movie, you know, you got your Godfather.
They're walking here. Yeah.
I saw Our Perpetual Lady of New York. That was a statue I saw today in front of a church when I was biking, and my first thought was, "Hey, she's praying here."
Well, if she's a professional lady, that might mean, you know, that
it's Our Perpetual. It was like
I was gonna like Our Professional Lady of New York. Hey, I'm hooking here.
To be fair, I thought he said professional too.
No, it's an Our Perpetual Lady of New York, and it was like one of those like Virgin Mary statues, and and it was like,
but not Lady Liberty. Lady Liberty is the perpetual lady of New York. Let me tell you,
she never sleeps.
Yeah, no. This is truly a great little love letter to Philly. But I always wish like it had more of Philly in it than just one neighborhood. But you know, whatever, that's fine. You know,
this movie needs more Philly.
I mean, like you know, you got the steps of the art museum. You know, which I think in 5 has my favorite line, where he's like, I just found out there's art there. I didn't know. I just went up the stairs. Which is just like the goofiest line ever.
But cue Elton John.
Thank God you fit it in this show.
But no, you know, Philadelphia is a great city. And that museum's great too. I actually cried at a Rembrandt exhibit because it was beautiful. And I never really got to see Rembrandt stuff in person.
I finally got to go there when I went to the TMBS live show in Philly.
Yeah, and they're unionized there now.
Nice.
You know, yeah, the workers unionized recently. So, you know, solidarity with the Museum of Philadelphia.
Rocky would have solidarity with them. You know?
Yeah, yo, I don't get the pictures, but I'm so glad you guys unionized. You know what I'm saying?
Conan, final thoughts.
All right, yeah. So, you know, much like Christina, when this first came out, I was pretty blown away. I mean, at the time, I think I might have even said I like it better than the original. I think, in retrospect, that might be crazy talk, but it's darn close. It's very good. I think that the whole premise is very thick enough to keep everything moving forward. I think with an inch less attention or in the hands of somebody that doesn't so clearly believe in the message, I don't think it works. And it's a good message. You know, you again, we barely talked about Mason, the line Dixon, but he has no heart, right? That's the big thing. That's the reason why everyone dislikes him. He has no heart to what he does. And Rocky is all heart. And that's one of the reasons why that character works and so endearing. And I'm glad there's a capstone on the franchise that's so poignant and works so well. And again, that's not counting him coming back as a supporting character in Creed. That's a different role. That's a different situation. I think that there's a lot here, as I said at the jump, for people that are not just in sports, but just are persevering in whatever it is they do, be it creative exploits or things along those lines. And I think that the centerpiece of the entire movie is that, you know, it ain't how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit, keep moving forward. It's about how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's all there. That's a great message, and it's a great way to capstone something that's literally about the triumph of perseverance.
Triumph of will.
I was specifically trying not to say that phrase for what I can only assume is obvious reasons. But
well, then I'll say it, and I'll look cliche.
Yeah, it's good. Good. Yeah, Polly over here is wants to talk about Triumph of the Will.
And you know, I think that the Mason the Lion Dixon character, like I remember that they used to say similar stuff about like Floyd Mayweather, right? Like
you're right. Yeah.
Like after the Pacquiao fight and stuff, they're like, well, he's never really, you know, fought somebody like real. Like it's not like it used to be where, you know, you have these greats fighting each other. And I feel like that's a perpetual thing that happens. But also like, yeah, like in the days of
modern sports, especially, I think, and that's something where it's very easy for someone to become a celebrity without actually having much of a personality.
Yeah,
and much like not be, instead of like being like, oh, this is someone who's embodying an underrepresented part of humanity. It's more just like, oh, this guy's just a celebrity and he's known for being good at boxing. Okay.
And I think in some ways Muhammad Ali was like the template for a lot of boxers in the way that he kind of shit talks and like his personality a lot of times. I mean, Muhammad Ali was a very complicated individual, but like the part that people have taken out of it is like that that shit talking persona that he had. You know, before fights. Yeah. But it feels like that gets more and more like as
the trash talk without the context of why he was doing the trash talk. Yeah.
But so we'll be back next week with Matthew Film Guy.
I just looked up what Triumph of the Will was, and I feel so fucking stupid because I had no idea what that was. So now I really feel dumb, like really fucking dumb.
All right, well now
you're fine. You're fine, Ron.
You're fine, Ron.
We'll forget about it. We're gonna be back next week and everything. Was one movie night extravaganza.